You are watching ABC's Wide World of Sports.
At Daytona, the IROC is ready to roll out with round one. And this year, it's a fascinating selection of drivers. Here's Jack.
This year's IROC field is virtually a who's who of auto racing. Now, Alex Zanardi, the defending PPG kart champion, was issued an invitation, but he turned it down. But other than that, every top newsmaker in auto racing from last year are in this 12-car starting grid. We've got the Winston Cup champion, the Daytona 500 champion, we've got the Indy 500 champion, and the IRL champion, as well as SCCA's champion from Trans Am.
One of the 1998 edition of the IROC, the International Race of Champions. Here we're looking for mechanical equity. They work very hard to make sure these cars are always identical in terms of performance, so we leave only the driver's skill. 12 of the best racing has to offer, and this year, in fact, one of the best fields we have seen in the IROC in a number of years. The 12 are set and ready to go. You've already met a couple of them. We'll introduce a few more to you in just a moment. $760,000 on the line at the end of the 4-race series on 4 different tracks. But more important, we determine who is the top gun, who is the best of the best. And they've been working hard on these cars to make them even more even than they were last year. Now, let's go back to Jack Arute.
Well, the starting positions for IROC at Daytona are always determined by the luck of the draw. But one man will not be able to enjoy his drawn position. That's Al Unser Jr. You see, he failed to take any practice time in the Pontiac Firebirds, so by IROC rules, he'll have to go to the back of the pack, to 12th starting position. But Paul and Benny, he's used to that. In fact, he started 12th 1 year ago here at Daytona, and he went to victory lane.
When the IROC ran here at Daytona in 1976, they swapped the lead 24 times at the line. Benny Parsons came home as the winner. Benny, wouldn't you love to be in one of these cars today?
Oh, I'd like to call back my youth and be in those cars, Paul. But these cars are so much better in 1998. This is the third year the IROC officials have used the Firebird. This is the third year they've learned a great deal, and over the winter, they've never worked harder to make these cars equal. They even found that releasing some of the air under the hood would make the front end stick better. We'll probably see the best IROC race we've ever seen, or the biggest crash we've ever seen.
Or a combination of both, but one thing we're guaranteed is we are going to see some great racing. Now, the lineup for this first round is determined by a draw. And with that draw, Tony Stewart, representing the Indy Racing League, took the pole, the IRL champion. Dale Jarrett, representing NASCAR, is on the outside of the front row. In row 2, representing kart, Jimmy Vasser, and NASCAR representative Jeff Burton will start on the outside of the second row. In row number 3, looking for his 8th Winston Cup championship is Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Gordon, the reigning Winston Cup champion. In row 4, Terry Labonte from NASCAR. And there's the Indy 500 champion, Arie Luyendyk, in the position that little Al drew, but because he didn't practice, they moved him to the last row. In row number 5, from NASCAR, Mark Martin, and Trans Am champion, Tommy Kendall. And in the last row, from the Busch Series, Randy LaJoie, and from kart, Al Unser Jr. That's the way they line up.
Onboard cameras today. We'll be right along with Dale Earnhardt in the white car. There we see Earnhardt. Also, Al Unser Jr. We're right along with him. And Mark Martin of the NASCAR Winston Cup.
Now the pace car off the course. The 12 are ready to go as they bunch up nice and tight. Here's the green, and we're underway for 98. Tony Stewart pulls away just a little bit. What an awesome responsibility for this veteran and skillful racer. Jimmy Vasser closes up behind Stewart, but then Stewart jumps up to the high side. Jarrett drops in behind him. Jeff Burton into third in that file while Vasser fights down low.
There's a hole there. Vasser will just squeeze into it. But Jeff Gordon comes and closes that hole. Battling for the lead up front. Dale Jarrett going for the lead over Tony Stewart. He has it in 3.
Jarrett down to the inside. Jeff Burton closes in behind him. At the same time, Jeff Gordon hooks up. They all three go streaming past Tony Stewart.
And will be 3 wide.
3 wide as they come down into the tri-oval.
And Jeff Gordon just moved Jeff Burton aside. He said, move over. I want that second spot. And he had it.
Jeff Gordon working down on a low line now. Jarrett in front.
The silver car, Jeff Gordon. The white car, Dale Earnhardt. Terry Labonte, the green car behind them.
Up on the high side, Jeff Burton in the red car, followed by Stewart in the Hugger orange car. 3 wide once again. Oh, look at this.
Wow, and put Jeff Burton in front. Tony Stewart will go to second. Now Jeff Gordon tries to take over that second spot. With
He's got a little help down here from Earnhardt as you ride with Dale Earnhardt. And Stewart up to the right.
We heard Earnhardt have to squeeze out the accelerator as he gets that run off the corner. Now he's going to try to pass Jeff Gordon. Now there'll be 3 abreast going in 1. Watch this, folks.
Earnhardt up behind Burton, now pulls to the inside. Down the long back run. Take a look at Earnhardt.
Oh, look at the yellow car of Lyndyke. He's moving into 3rd spot.
Dale Jarrett goes from first to the back in 1 lap. You do not want to step out of line, but they have said these cars are very raceable. Earnhardt, Labonte, battle at the front. Oh, look at him get way, way high.
Jeff Stewart. That's Tommy Kendall, the aqua car in the bottom of the racetrack. And they're coming back.
Battle for second once again. This time, it's Earnhardt. We're back with Alonso Jr. That's Tommy Kendall up ahead on the right.
Back in about 7th spot. Unser will go on the outside. Let's go back to the front. Here comes Earnhardt. He's got a run on Labonte. Goes to the inside. Jeff Burton's going to follow. And the poor leader was a sitting duck.
I tell you what, that draft, obviously they have worked on the draft on these cars. Has done a lot of work on the front end. New cold air box. It's paying off in the draft, but it also means if you're not in that draft, you're in trouble.
We're all the way to 6th now. From 1st to 6th and about.
And Tony Stewart was him on the right. He was our pole sitter. He's gone all the way to the back. And now he's trying to find his way to the front as he ride alongside Randy LaJoie.
So twice we've seen front row members move from the front to the back just by stepping out. Well, that's the way they line up right now, but it's constantly changing. Now let's send you back to New York, our Wide World of Sports studios, and John Saunders.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. As you can see, Dale Earnhardt has grabbed the lead, back with more of the International Race of Champions in a moment. But first, let's get you up to date on what's happening in that field of 64 for the NCAA tournament. We begin in the ACC, the rubber match between Duke and Carolina. And in the second half, it was Antoine Jamison and too much of him as Carolina runs off with this game. In the last 3 days, they've avenged all 3 of their losses to NC State, Maryland, and Duke. Antoine Jamison, 22 points, 18 rebounds, the tournament MVP. Bill Guthrie's 30th win, second best start for a first-year coach. Bill Hodges had 33 and 79 with Larry Bird in Indiana State. In the Big Ten, the big tractor, Robert Traylor, takes off. Looking like a guard, jams this one down as Michigan looks to pull away. Robert Traylor's grandmother says, yes, it's a victory. Brian Ellerby, his first-year coach, and he gets the first ever Big Ten Conference Tournament Championship, 76-67. Traylor with 24 points, 13 boards. In the Big 12, Kansas wins again, 72-58. Paul Pierce, 26 points, MVP for the second straight year, first time since Danny Manning did it in the 80s. And Kentucky blows out South Carolina by 30. Wayne Turner, 18 points, and he's the tournament MVP as well. Kentucky shooting 13 of 27 from three-point range. Next Sunday on ABC Sports, kart racing action begins when Toyota presents the Grand Prix of Miami. Michael Andretti looks to defend his title next Sunday at 1:30 Eastern, 3 Pacific on ABC. More of the International Race of Champions coming up. Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt, and Jimmy Vasser in the hunt.
The International Race of Champions on ABC Sports. Brought to you by the legendary Firebird Trans Am from Pontiac. AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it. And True Value, official hardware store of IROC and garages everywhere.
Coverage for World Cup 98 is here on ABC Sports. And next Saturday from Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, the U.S. national soccer team in a tune-up for the World Cup takes on Paraguay. World Cup coverage on ABC Sports. Back at Daytona, Jeff Burton now making a move on Earnhardt. You look from Earnhardt's car, but Burton has some help down low.
Does he have some help? Is Vassar pushing him or what? And watches Earnhardt's on the outside with no help. Cars going by on both sides. The leader is now back to 6th, 7th spot, 8th spot.
And you know what? What a fascinating group that is from all the different disciplines. Winston Cup in the lead on point there with Burton, but then you got Jimmy Vassar from kart coming up behind and road racer Tommy Kendall. Now Kendall pokes his nose out. He has some help.
That's Terry Labonte, the green car. Al Unser Jr. looking back at Jeff Gordon.
Look at that line low, we got trouble. Vassar loses it, but recovers it. Lyondike comes sideways. And that'll bring out the caution flag. Wild ride for Lyondike and some pretty severe damage to that nice new aerodynamic nose.
And Tony Stewart was on the apron of the racetrack. I don't know if there's any damage to his automobile.
Well, because he's right there, Arie Luyendyk can make a quick turn down pit road, and Jack Arute is waiting for him.
So, guys, Arie Luyendyk brings his car onto pit road. You can see the damage that's been done to the front air dam. The crew will go to work, and they will change all 4 tires. Obviously, the tires have been flat spotted. But Luyendyk right now waits to find out if he'll be able to return. It looks like they're going to try and make some minor repairs. Now remember, he will not lose any laps here on pit road because only green flag laps count in IROC competition.
So the field slows behind the Pontiac pace car. Burton has the lead of the field. And Benny Parsons, we can go back and see what happened to Arie.
We'll see going in turn 3, Luyendyk tries to go on the inside, makes some contact. That was Jimmy Vassar he made contact with, and believe it or not, Vassar saved that car. What a tremendous job he did, but he does have some damage because the damage to the right front of Lyondyk's car was caused by hitting the Vassar car.
And you saw Tony Stewart took it all the way to the grass to get past it as well.
Another look. Watch the goal car right in the middle. He goes up, touches Vassar's car. Both those cars start around, and wow. Luyendyk right across the racetrack. Vassar maintains control.
I'll tell you what, Mark Martin was very close to getting into the side of Luyendyk. We can look from Mark Martin's onboard.
Watch in the corner. Wow. They tell you on Daytona, Talladega, go high. These banks are self-cleaning. When you get there, the wreck should be gone. And this time, it was.
Looking from the rear of Al Unser Jr.'s car. This is where we saw it start. Well, that was pretty violent for Arie. Down and then yanked him back up. And with the caution, Dale Jarrett in the pits, Jack.
Fellas, here's what Dale Jarrett is doing right now. He has come onto pit road and asking the IROC mechanics to check the condition of his tires. If Jay Signori and his staff determine that the tires are okay, there will be no penalty for this pit stop. What they're calling this is an inspection stop. He will be able to go back out on pit road and also take up his position in the grid.
Tony Stewart stopped for an inspection as well. No penalty to either. So it's Jeff Burton, followed by 2 kart champions and road racing champion Tom Kendall. We're still under yellow, but we're about to go green. Over the winter, this IROC crew works on the cars to make them even better every year, and that's the subject of Jack Arute's Mechanics of Racing.
If you were with us for last year's IROC finale in Michigan, we told you about a brand new nose that would be introduced on all the IROC cars in 1998. Well, it's here, and it's on all 12 cars at Daytona. This brand new nose makes for a much better race car. Here's one of the reasons why. The new nose has a distance that's much narrower between the tire and the fender well itself. Now that means that air now that travels under the fender wells and into the engine compartment have to find a place to escape. What IROC mechanics have done is introduced this evacuation system. It's an air box. The air travels from the engine compartment out these side vents on both sides of the car, and the air travels down the sides. Now, early indications in practice and also in testing is that it's made for a much more stable car, especially in the banking here at Daytona. Drivers report that you can not only run 2x2 side by side, but you can run 3x3, 3 cars in the banking, and all 3 cars stay very, very stable. Now, how much downforce is created by this new nose? Well, we're not sure, but IROC mechanics have introduced these 3 braces and additional bracing in the fiberglass hood to literally keep the hood from collapsing when it's racing at speed.
So those changes have made these cars work so much better in the draft. Consider this, 5 laps in competition thus far, 5 different lead changes among 4 drivers. No question, the Firebirds are very racy.
Green flag. Jeff Burton takes off, takes him to the line. Jimmy Vassar is in second spot by reverting back to the preceding lap.
Earnhardt down behind Kemble, gives him a little bit of a tap. Come on, Tommy, let's get going. You know, Kendall is due. He has been doing so well on the super speedways. Coming out of the Trans Am Series, a couple times I thought he was going to win one.
And watch this, 3 abreast.
Earnhardt said, "No, I think I'll let Burton go ahead there."
Meanwhile, the 3 abreast behind him as Terry Labonte comes to the front and takes the lead. Earnhardt is in the middle of the sandwich.
And Labonte's doing it alone, though. He doesn't have that much help from Jarrett. He's got to get back up there, or he could be in trouble.
Jeff Burton does not let him get to the top of the racetrack. Now they come to the line side by side. And on the inside, a battle. Dale Jarrett comes down, tries to take the lead. And Labonte, the leader, is in the middle, 3 abreast.
Jarrett steps out with Randy LaJoie in the dark blue car helping him. In the meantime, still leading on the high side, Jeff Burton. Now he has Earnhardt behind him, pushing him through that high groove.
That's Dale Jarrett on the inside.
Burton, Earnhardt, Kendall, and then Jimmy Vassar, 1st through 4th on the high groove.
Earnhardt dives to the inside. Jeff, you have led enough. You've led 2 laps. That's more than anybody else. I want the lead.
So Earnhardt takes over at the front. Burton drops back to 2nd place. Kendall 3rd. And now they break away.
If they can get that group behind them running 2 abreast, they should put some distance on this group.
Vassar being pushed by Al Unser Jr. in that 2nd group up on the high side.
On the inside, Jarrett being pushed by Randy LaJoie.
On board Unser. There's Randy down to the left. Boy, look how steady they are. If they talk about having really worked on the cars, as Kendall helps Jeff Burton a little bit, they don't dart like they have in past years.
And Earnhardt was the leader. Now he's trying to fight to stay in 3rd spot.
Burton, Kendall, Vassar, Unser Jr. on the high side. Little dart in there. Get away from that wall.
I think Jeff Burton has decided he's going to stay high. He's going to stay on top of the racetrack and make everyone pass him on the inside. And if they pass him, he's still going to stay there and get some help and go back to the front.
Tommy Kendall
takes the lead easily.
This road racer who has looked so strong here in the International Race of Champions.
A great driver who's suffering an unusual season.
Guys, if you talk about Tommy Kendall, he has a lot to prove in IROC this year. IROC 22 is the only firm racing that Kendall has at this point in time. In fact, when they drew for starting positions, he made mention of it and saying, you know, guys like Earnhardt run 30 or 40 races a year. Tony Stewart will run 70. He says, I may have the advantage. I'm only going to run 4.
On board Unser Jr. Mark Martin, looking for 3 IROC championships in a row. He's always on the edge of the fight until it's time to get going. He's really very savvy.
And this time, The top groove is really not working for Jeff Burton. Watch as he's going back. The line on the inside going forward.
Less than 1 second covers the field from first to last place. Looking back at Al Unser Jr., 181.5 miles an hour last time around. Looking ahead to Mark Martin now. He had the view back just a moment ago. Now the view back again from Martin as Unser Jr. moves to the inside.
Unser Jr. goes on the inside. Earnhardt looks back at both those guys.
And Unser Jr. is going to come up here. Look, he's already got some paint scraped off that nose. He's going to go for a little more now.
Now the outside line continues forward with Terry Labonte and Mark Martin hooked up.
Labonte, Mark Martin, look at Lyondike's back into the fight.
Wow. The silver car, Jeff Gordon, right in the middle of the pack on the bottom.
This is unbelievable. Look at the right side of the screen there. The orange car, the red car, Stewart, Burton, those are guys that were leaders just a few laps ago.
And now Dale Jarrett is the guy that's back in 12th spot.
Lyondike makes it 3 wide, sits in the middle, no help there, back up at the front. Kendall with Earnhardt low. Mark Martin sitting up high.
This is Al Unser Jr. Watch as he just closes up right on the back of Earnhardt.
More than closes up. Helps him along.
I think that's called the bump draft.
Well, let's give him about 2 or 3 more miles an hour for that area. There's LaJoie to the left, the dark blue car. Kendall is overhauled for the lead. Earnhardt goes out in front. Look at that. 3 wide. How long can they hold it?
And this is at 175 to 180 miles per hour.
Not as long as we had hoped. Kendall gets pulled into the wall, and in doing so, traps Randy LaJoie. So the caution comes out. Now we're talking 2 cars with very serious damage. Well, the IROC crew is great at repairs. I'm not sure they're this good. Tom Kendall's cut across the grass, climbing out. Apparently, he's decided that his car's done for the day. But at the same time, Randy LaJoie is still in the car on the pit road. I think he thinks his is repairable. We'll be back. Back at Daytona and still under caution. They're working on Randy LaJoie's car. They want to get it back in competition. At the same time, Kendall is obviously out. Jack?
Well, you see the remains of Tommy Kendall's Pontiac Firebird. He has gotten out and is resting on pit road. What happened?
I'm not sure exactly. The silver car, I was out in front a little bit, and the pack was catching me, and the high line was starting to move, and the silver car behind me was trying to get me to go, and then he just got into me, started pushing me, and he started pushing me that way. Fortunately, I stayed up against the wall. But
we're seeing an awful lot of side-by-side racing, more than I can remember in Daytona.
Yeah, the cars kind of lock together when they get side-by-side, and they'll seesaw about half a car length either way, and they literally get locked together. Neither car can break away. So I was liking our chances. I was guarding the low line pretty aggressively. I got to lead some laps, but it's certainly not the way we wanted to end it.
Well, we watched Dale Earnhardt as he circles under caution. Kendall out of the run. LaJoie, they work on his car, and Benny, we can really take a look at this situation.
We'll take a look at Al Unser's car. He's in the middle of 3 abreast. Tommy Kendall comes across, makes contact, and he and LaJoie go head on in the wall. Al Unser continues on. Then we'll watch the Mark Martin's car as he come off the corner. There's a contact, and Mark backs off the gas, goes through the smoke unscathed. The leader, Dale Earnhardt, looks back at this. This is on top of the camera. On top, watching slow motion as he come off the corner. Kendall on the right. He's going to come across the racetrack and make contact with Al Unser Jr. And he and LaJoie no place to go.
And look at Unser Jr. just squirt right out of the middle of that, almost unscathed.
Little tighter look. Watch this. On the right is Kendall. In the center, Unser Jr. They make contact, and LaJoie no place to go. Into the wall. All the other cars able to get by. And Dale Jarrett went down pit road to avoid this. This is on camera on the back of Dale Earnhardt's car as he watches in his mirror and sees this.
Benny, what's your call? Why is Kendall making that move to the right?
Well, I mean, they're in the three abreast. This racetrack is just not wide for three abreast. We're going to see it all day long. It just isn't wide enough for three abreast. Another camera.
Kendall works slow with the help of Gordon. He starts to drift up there.
He starts to drift up the racetrack because Jeff Gordon's on the inside. They're trying to make it 4 wide. It really isn't wide enough for 3.
Well, you see the damage to Randy LaJoie's car. Jim Sauter, I got to ask you, when you've got that kind of damage, all the duct tape in the world is not going to improve the aerodynamics.
No, it sure isn't, Jack. He's really going to be hurting now in the draft. The only thing he can do is tuck in behind 1 or maybe 2 cars that are double wide, and hopefully it'll help him. But as far as winning the race, it's going to be awful tough.
Now, don't forget, guys, points are very important because how you finish this race dictates where you will start in the next race. But let's see if we can get a word as they continue to work with Randy LaJoie and find out exactly what happened, Randy.
It looked like a little Al got into Kendall, turned him up. Man, I was having a good run. I thought I could win this thing, but kind of got tore up in a wreck.
Now you just got to hold on?
Well, just got to go out and get points, man. I want to win this series.
Well, as they line up ready to take the green again, 3 NASCAR drivers, 3 open-wheeled racers. Should be interesting when we come back. Tonight on ABC, The Wonderful World of Disney presents Gold Rush, a real-life Alaskan adventure. Then Sigourney Weaver, Holly Hunter, and Harry Connick Jr. star in the network premiere of Copycat tonight on ABC. We're ready to go back to green flag racing. Earnhardt leads it. Laps under caution don't count, 11 laps complete. Look at Randy LaJoie's car way in the back there. A lot of work done on that car. We'll see now if it's raceable.
It still rolls. Whether or not it's raceable, we'll find out. Wow.
And look up in the middle of that field. Arie Luyendyk. Remember all the damage to his car? Well, Luyendyk came across the line in 5th place.
Meanwhile, Earnhardt goes back to 2nd, 3rd. As Mark Mott and Terry Labonte go by on the outside, back to 4th as Al Unser Jr. goes by.
And no help there. And Arie Luyendyk's going to come into the fight, move up to the high side with Jeff Gordon's help. Now, Benny, if they're talking about the 2 grooves, why would you not want to be on the low side?
Because the low side is really bumpy, especially down in 1 and 2. Really hit these bumps and makes these cars move around. Watch as they go through the corner. Watch that blue car. You see them bump up and down, and the car move around.
On the long backstretch. Earnhardt behind Unser Jr., looking to make something happen low. Mark Martin leads it with Terry Labonte just behind him. Look at Unser Jr. Way low that time.
Almost in the grass. Here goes Earnhardt for 3rd spot. Labonte's going backwards.
Labonte comes back to respond. He's out there alone on the high side, though. Earnhardt closes on Jr. Labonte's got some help from Luyendyk up high.
Let's watch these cars that go through the corner. Watch as they go through the bumps. We see the cars moving up and down. Unser's car. Mark Martin, Al Unser Jr., Dale Earnhardt, 1, 2, 3. The battle now is for 4th between Vassar and Labonte. Labonte has Arie Luyendyk right behind and Jeff Gordon.
Luyendyk came up and gave Labonte a little bit of a shove there. Jeff Gordon still riding high in that silver car. Back at the front, Mark Martin still the leader.
Dale Jarrett's trying to make it 3 wide at the tri-oval. And Tony Stewart goes on the outside. So we'll put Jimmy Vassar back in the last spot.
Stewart trying to hook up with the silver car of Jeff Gordon. Down below Stewart, that red car is Jeff Burton. He's trying to hook up with Dale Jarrett. See what they can make out of it. One of the things I particularly like about the field this year is, with the possible exception of Alex Zanardi, who declined an invitation to the IROC, you have every story from the 1997 season right there on the racetrack.
Al Unser Jr. comes by. He's in third spot. Unser Jr. is in second. Mark Martin is our leader.
Dale Earnhardt, Al Unser Jr. have been constant adversaries here in the International Race of Champions. It's made for some great racing. Jack?
You know, fellas, while we watch Dale Earnhardt at work here at Daytona, we might want to remember that he is suffering from the flu. In fact, he's had it for about 3 or 4 days. And yesterday in his Cup car, he complained to his crew that he thought he was going to get sick literally in the car. I talked to him before he took off for this IROC Daytona event, and he growled, I'll be all right.
No question, Earnhardt is one tough customer. There's the backdoor positions in what now is 10 cars very closely aligned. You see the front's only about 300 yards ahead. Mark Martin battling with Unser Jr. and Dale Earnhardt, followed by Terry Labonte. Tom Kendall, the only driver out. We'll be back. We're just past the halfway in this 100-mile sprint, 40 laps at Daytona, round 1 of the International Race of Champions. That light blue car, that is Mark Martin, the defending and 3-time IROC champion. He's won the past 2 rounds of the series. And, of course, we are looking for the possibility of him making it 3 in a row. That would be historic. Mark Martin has very quietly moved his way to the front. And now, with the help of Al Unser Jr. and Dale Earnhardt stays there, this group has managed to dominate the front of the run for the past several laps. Terry Labonte in the green car sits back behind Earnhardt. And then Dale Jarrett and Jeff Burton. Arie Luyendyk has damage to his car, that bright yellow machine on the right side of the screen. But nonetheless, he has been very racy and been running behind Burton and ahead of Gordon for the last several laps.
Looks like Earnhardt got tired of sitting back in third spot and says, I think I'll try the front for a while. He goes to second. Terry Labonte is now in third spot.
Burton closes up on Labonte. Unser Jr.'s caught out. He's down low in the violet car. But now Jeff Gordon comes up to help him with Luyendyk behind Gordon.
And Gordon says, I don't think I'm going to help. I think we're going to try to pass.
Don't go too wide here, guys.
And once again, they're 3 wide down in the corner.
Luyendyk down there working hard. Gordon pulls away, but Luyendyk might get caught out on this one.
See Jeff Burton behind Al Unser Jr. Dale Jarrett trying to help Al Luyendyk get by.
Jarrett comes low. Burton comes down to help. And that leaves Jr. out. Jr. says, you're not coming up here. I'm taking this one. Junior knows that higher line is running a little better right now. He just can't get anybody to really help him around it. Maybe now he has it in Jeff Burton. Nothing changes at the front. Martin, Earnhardt, Labonte. First, second, and third. There they are. But Mother Nature may figure into this fight. Here's Jack.
Paul, these dark clouds are bringing rain to the Daytona International Speedway. Now, we've reached the halfway mark in the race. We've gone past it. So it's an official race. And all the drivers were told before the start of this IROC race that the race may be called early because of rain. They're aware of it, and right now in their minds, they've got to calculate. Should they make a move early? Should they stay in line? Because they aren't sure if it will go the full 40 laps.
Only one car out of the run. That's Tommy Kendall. As a result of that second caution of the day, and you get a glimpse. Look up high there. You'll see the dark blue car. That's Randy LaJoie. And he has substantial damage to the car. There it is, the IROC crew. Look at all the tape on that car. IROC crew did a nice job in getting him back on the track. But obviously, in this aerodynamic world, his ability to push through the air is pretty much the aerodynamics of a brick.
Very limited. Mark Martin still continues to lead as Earnhardt follows off the corner.
Martin, Earnhardt, Labonte, Gordon, all from NASCAR Winston Cup. And then Arie Luyendyk from the Pep Boys Indy Racing League. Then Jarrett, then Unser Jr.
Jeff Burton, Tony Stewart, and Jimmy Vasser. Here comes Unser Jr. down to the inside of Jarrett. Jeff Burton decides he will go with him.
And so wisely does Tony Stewart.
And Jimmy Vasser all on the inside, leaving Jarrett no place to go.
With weather closing in, the pressure is on. You can't afford not to lead. We'll be back. Next Sunday on ABC Sports, CART opens their racing season as Toyota presents the Grand Prix of Miami. Defending champion Michael Andretti joins the 97 Series points leader Alex Zanardi, Al Unser Jr., and Paul Tracy at the starting line. While we were away, the caution came out for the third time. A quick spin by Jimmy Vasser. He's into the pits. Make sure those tires are ready to go back to competition. Benny?
Jimmy Vasser, the blue car on the inside, number 3, comes off the corner, thinks he's clear of Leyendijk, comes up the hill, and right there just makes slight contact, just a little contact, but enough to send the car spinning. And watch as Dale Jarrett does a great job to miss him. A little dirt racing. He goes back on the racetrack. Vasser just spins down through the dirt.
For Jimmy Vasser, it harkens back to his days in midgets on the dirt. Ready to go green again. Martin, Earnhardt. The silver car is Jeff Gordon. Look at the tape on LaJoie's machine as he tries to keep up. And Gordon makes a move.
Jeff Gordon on the inside with help from Jeff Burton, trying to work their way forward. Earnhardt's being shuffled backwards. He's back to 4th. Back to 5th as Leyendijk goes by on the inside.
There's Jeff Gordon as he comes up, moves to the inside, looking for Mark Martin's car.
Goes for the lead.
Martin was the leader, coming back to the flag. Now Jeff Gordon's got it. Earnhardt gets up alongside Martin, makes it 3 wide with Burton down low. Arie Leyendijk and Jarrett, they pull in behind Earnhardt and Martin.
Jeff Burton wants to lead this thing in 2nd spot. Trying to work on Gordon. Here comes Jeff Gordon.
They weren't that far apart, but the caution has put them all back together again.
Meanwhile, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt side by side.
At the line, 9 lead changes thus far among 7 different drivers. But if you painted a line a couple other places, we'd see a whole lot of other lead changes.
Probably 3 times that many lead changes.
Daytona is always a great run for the IROC. Well, look at Leyendijk down there.
He's pushing Mark Martin. And this is Mark Martin we're riding with as he's in 3rd spot. Earnhardt on the outside.
A little bit of moisture there on the right side of the lens. More than a little bit now. We are well past the halfway point. If there is rain as a problem.
Yellow flag is out for the rain that you saw just a moment ago, Paul. And we will go back to the preceding lap.
When Jeff Gordon was the leader. So if the rain hangs in here and they have to call the race, well, Burton may get robbed of a victory. Caution is out. We'll be back.
The International Race of Champions on ABC Sports. Brought to you by the legendary Firebird Trans Am from Pontiac and True Value, official hardware store of IROC and garages everywhere.
Well, rain continues here at Daytona, and the IROC officials have taken a look at the weather radar and decided there's no chance of restarting the run. So at 30 laps, they've called the race. The victory goes to Jeff Gordon, and Jeff Burton can only wonder what might have been had the rain stayed away even a few seconds longer. Jeff Gordon is the winner. Here's Jack.
Well, there may be clouds everywhere but victory lane because Jeff Gordon gets a kiss from his wife, Brooke. And, hey, congratulations. First win ever in the International Race of Champions, Jeff.
Well, I tell you what, it's more than one way to win a race, I guess. You know, we had a great car today. I got to commend Jay Signore and all the folks from IROC. They had great race cars. The fans saw a great race. I hate that it was shortened, but sometimes you got to just take them any way you can get them, and this is exciting. I tell you, I'm thrilled to death to have an IROC victory. I do want to try to win one under green flag conditions, but like I said, right now I'll take one any way I can get it.
let's talk a little bit about your run to the front, because it was a little bit belated. You kind of waited, and then after the halfway mark, you were there.
Well, you know, I went from the front to the back, and, you know, I wanted to make some gutsy moves to get up there and lead some laps and try to get some leader points, because you got to think about the point system at the same time. This is a race where you got to be real aggressive, and a lot of 3-4 wide out there, and man, I tell you what, you didn't have any friends out there, and that's what this series is all about, but you got some great race car drivers, and I just happened to find myself at the front at the right time. Usually in the past it's been at the wrong time, and had we gone one more lap, I would have been back there about 7th or 8th. So, you know, I guess I do have a little bit of luck left in me this week.
Well, Jeff Gordon will leave here as the points leader. We take a look at the IROC points. First time in 22 years that an IROC race has been shortened as a result of rain. Next IROC telecast, California Speedway, June 7th. You'll see the coverage right here on ABC Sports. Congratulations to Jeff Gordon. Now let's send you back to New York City, our Wide World of Sports studios, and John Saunders.
Don't forget, we'll have more racing tomorrow. You can see that on ESPN, the Prime Star 500, which was rained out today on ABC, 11 o'clock Eastern time in the morning. Before we leave you, let's update college basketball. The #1 team in the nation, Duke, they fall for the second time this year to North Carolina. Antoine Jamison, 22 points and 18 rebounds. He was the tournament MVP. Here's a look at some others that got in today with automatic bids. The rest of the field unveiled at the bottom of the hour. Don't forget, 6:30 Eastern time. Join ESPN for their selection special. It'll give you perspective to that field of 64. Next Saturday, live at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC, the U.S. national soccer team takes the field against Paraguay, getting ready for the World Cup. Then live at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, hit the road to the Visa Triple Crown Challenge, the first major test on the road to the Kentucky Derby, the Florida Derby, all next Saturday on ABC Sports. Before we leave you, some tragic news. Green Bay Packer great Ray Nitschke died today of an apparent heart attack. Nitschke was at his home in Florida where he likes to spend the winter. But Ray Nitschke, again, at the age of 61. He, of course, was an all-time great with the Packer, elected to the Hall of Fame in 1978, following a career which included 2 rings from the first 2 Super Bowls and a championship MVP. Ray Nitschke was 61.
Now, stay tuned for your local news and World News Tonight Sunday over most of these ABC stations. ABC's Wide World of Sports is online on America Online. Keyword ABC Sports.
And down the stretch. Oh, no. It's over. It's academic.
This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.